Voice of heroes in the night, phoenix flames burn so bright. Threats arise, they stand tall, defend the world, never fall. There are souls, they fight for free, no reward, no luxury. First up front, they lead the way, for the citizens they stay. Phoenix initiative, never back down. In the darkness, lights found. Tireless warriors, shield to light. They are stronger with their fight. Reporting to the Emperor's court, strategies with wisdom brought. New threats fall to the ground. Phoenix voices make the sound. Phoenix initiative, never back down. In the darkness, lights found. Tireless warriors, shield to light. They are stronger with their fight. Reporting to the Emperor's court, strategies with wisdom brought. New threats fall to the ground. Phoenix voices make the sound. Phoenix initiative, never back down. In the darkness, lights found. Tireless warriors, shield to light. They are stronger with their fight. Silent guardians stand so true, in their hearts of fire new. Still they give all they've got.
What up? What up?
They are stronger with their fight.
Yeah, hopefully get that small guild bonus.
Whoops! I didn't unmute my own mic. I'm a professional podcaster and streamer. So never pushing down. Nerd. Filthy Rich says, "Sup, gents? What's going on, Filthy Rich? Mabari, Levi, Tony Trinker, MF Crackers, ACL. I see some of these names. I imagine coming over from your community. That's awesome. I'm gonna have a little conversation today. Like I was saying before my mic was muted. We're gonna talk about 12,000 person guilds, mega guilds that are bigger than the what they currently plan to have on the server at one time, concurrently playing the game. So, but yeah, so if, in case you guys don't know, this over here is Nice Gaming. This guy right here makes Ashes of Creation content on both YouTube and Twitch. He is the second and far inferior voice on the Voices of Era. Of course, the number one voice is there no one else? Obviously, that's the number one guy. But he makes lots of content, so go over there and he should be clickable on both YouTube and Twitch. So just click his name and go follow him and check out all the awesome content that he does with that buttery smooth voice. You want to tell him anything and what you do, or do any more of a sell job than that?
Oh no, that's a hard act to follow. I think you hit it right there. That's all of it. That's all the stuff.
That's all the stuff. That's all the stuff. All right, awesome. Got Cold Gray Rain hopping in. Okay, so for those of you who don't know, for the people who've been living on the dark side of the moon with their eyes closed and their fingers in their ears for the last 24 to 48 hours, Pirate Software, who is the guy who makes the PC game Earthbound. Is that right? Pretty sure it's Earthbound.
I think that's the name of it. It's Earth something.
Yeah, he makes that game. His dad was one of the key guys with World of Warcraft for Blizzard for a long time. Really, really good streamer. His streams are always highly entertaining. He knows how to make shorts, man. Like you start getting fans of his shorts, and then you just like nonstop with the shorts going on. Made a video, And in the video, he basically talked about how he's put together a guild for Ashes of Creation inside of his Discord, and they have 12,000 people in the guild. 12,000 people in a guild, and he basically was angling, trying to pitching to Steven for Steven to raise the guild cap, basically from 300 to 12,000. First takes, nice go. What do you?
I think they should just compromise and maybe do like, I don't know, 6,000 person guild or something. Meet halfway. I don't know. But no, first take, I just have to say that's ridiculous. And I watched Narc's video today, and I think he kind of hit it on the head that you must not have a full grasp of the scope of the game. Like, I think he follows it very well. He to me, in my opinion, he's a very smart guy. I've always heard good takes from him. Mm-hmm. Like, he's a really cool guy. I think and maybe I don't think he was, because he pulled up his Discord and said the amount of people in there. I was hoping that he was just being hyperbolic, but yeah, 12,000 person guild, especially with, like you brought up, a 10,000 person cap on a server. Right. It's just a little bit ridiculous. And I just don't think people are already scared of large guilds and Ashes of Creation. And right. I think when people are scared of large guilds, they're thinking guilds like, oh my gosh, like 500 people, 1,000 people. I don't think no one even fathomed that someone's going to come to this game, especially and people also talk about content creators having a huge following and ruining their server, the Asmongold of the world, if you will. So when you start talking like 12,000, that's got to send off alarms in everybody's head. Like, I already seen people say it already. Gonna avoid that server.
Right.
With 12,000, you are literally, your guild is literally the server. Yes, not everyone's gonna be on at the same time, but if 30% of your guild is online, like, you're kind of running things.
Yeah.
So
Cold Gray Rain says he's under the misunderstanding that Ashes is the mega server. And that gets to misinformation from Asmongold, who you mentioned, because Asmongold was calling it a mega server in one of his reactions to the server meshing video. So, like, it's just like misunderstanding stacked on top of misunderstanding stacked on top of misunderstanding. We get to this point where people are thinking this is going to be a mega server, and it's just not. So what I wanted to talk to you about, and I know that you have competed. You're a very competitive PvP player, and like you do the ESO and in New World, and you were into those things, and you were really into that sort of thing. So let me just give me a second to lay this out, just in case anybody who's watching doesn't understand the way this works. A level 1 guild. So as soon as you create a guild in Ashes of Creation, the membership cap is 30. That's 30. It's not. That's a tiny guild, right? And we know that a max level guild is going to have 300 players if you put all your points into membership cap. So to further expand on that, I think the way that's going to work is we're going to have 10 levels of guild. And so you'll start at 1, which means you'll get 9 points to spend. If you spend 9 points and each time it increases the cap by 30, at the end you've done it times 10, that's 300. So you're going to have 9 points that you can spend, and you can spend those on making your guild bigger, or you can spend them on things. We don't know what those things are going to be. My speculation is like increased gathering rates, increased reputation rates, like stuff like that. Anything that kind of can make up for the fact that your guild doesn't have as many players. So you can choose to have more players or have less players who have more abilities, more powers. Okay, and then a guild can be in an alliance with 3 other guilds. So 4 guilds total in alliance. So if you had 4 max level guilds who spent all of their points on membership cap, that's 1,200 players. That's as big as an in-game organization can be, like an official in-game organization. But you have played in these games where they've taken other attempts to slow down zerging, slow down mega guilds, that sort of thing. And so the first thing, when I mention this to people, the first thing they say is, oh, well, they'll just be an out of guild alliance. They'll have 8 1,200 person guilds. So in your experience, is that possible? And if it is possible, what could Intrepid do to like take down on that?
Is it possible? It is possible with very, very how do I want to word this? Like very organized leadership. And to be quite honest, with what Pirate Software has already shown, with the chart, how he's going to organize, we're going to have this role, we're going to have this role, and how you see some of these large guilds do with their spreadsheets, they take this leadership and organization stuff very serious. So let's say the main guild, the one where Pirate, let's say he's the head of this guild, like he's at the top of the top. It's called Pirates One. Everyone know that's, there's 4-5 alliances, 4 alliance guilds or whatever. Each one of those is going to be Pirates 1, Pirates 2, Pirates 3, etc., etc. Now, the issue is when you start wanting to go more of that, the other guilds aren't going to directly be in that alliance, so there could potentially be friendly fire. Maybe you see the guild tag and you're like, oh, okay, they're cool. They're just on a different branch of our same pirate umbrella, if you will. So it'd be tough to do, but possible. But you gotta have some weight, and maybe a content creator of that influence can get that organized and have people understand that, like, hey, we're gonna run this server. I need the guilds Pirate 1, Pirate 2 meet over here for this siege. We need Pirates 3 out there gathering, and we're gonna help Pirates 4 with their node war, their node siege, etc., etc. It could actually happen. What can Intrepid do about it? That level of organization, I don't know if you can. I don't expect there to be too many servers or large guilds that can pull this off. But when you get into that level of organization, you kind of take the fun out the game, don't you? I would say you take the fun out the game if you're controlling the server to that extent, with that much power, that much people of the 10,000 cap belong to you. Where's your challenge? What's your goal? Yeah, you're making all this gold. You're running the economy. You got everyone in your guild has a freehold. But at what cost? Like, do you think people are going to want to stay on that kind of server? We talk about it a lot. Like, Ashes of Creation has a lot of ways to combat, the big bad guy, the big bad guild. Stage of revolutions, attack their caravans, blah blah blah. Rise up together. But that size, when someone's willing to do an alliance of 4 and then maybe even like branch out to other things where they're not technically an alliance, but they are. Although I think that's going to be risky or tough to actually go through with, but it could happen. Yeah, I do think it could happen. Will it be often? Will the normal guild, the normal person be able to sustain something like that and keep it organized without things falling apart, without there being a mutiny, without there, people just, relationships end. Somebody gets too greedy, something happens, so yeah.
That's interesting. So you brought up that it ruins the game, right? Mm-hmm. And that's the first thing I thought of. If you had 12,000 people who were even semi-active, obviously if they all played all the time, you would just destroy everything. But, if half of them were really, really active and the other half were semi-active, you would literally run the entire server. There would be no PvP. There would be no sieging of nodes. There'd be no node wars. There would be nothing. What would be the point in that?
Where's the fun?
I don't understand.
I don't get the goal. Now I'm not here to give them advice, because what I'm about to say, maybe I should just keep to myself. But if I was in a 12,000 person guild, oh my gosh, just being another number is scary. But if I'm in a 12,000 person guild, I know that that's going to ruin the fun, especially in the Alpha 2. Let's say this starts Alpha 2, maybe not even launch. Let's just say they start this in Alpha 2. That's not going to be fun. That's not going to be rewarding. You don't really get to test the game systems because you're running everything, right?
Right.
You don't really get that experience, whether we're talking launch or Alpha 2. Now, what you could do, if you got like this huge of a guild, divide that into 2 servers. I would say 3, but 2 if you still want to be big and dominant. And all Pirate Software will have to do is have an account on each server. And then there you go. I mean, even with 6,000, you're still looking at a couple of alliances, and then have to do more alliances on that. But you get what I'm saying? Like, that's 12,000 trying to be on one server and like wanting to organize that. You take, even if you are successful, I mean, and how could you not be, right? But even if you are successful, like I said, at what cost? Like, yeah, who's your competition? Like, what you're playing a whole different game than me. Like, you're playing a whole nother Ashes of Creation. So yeah.
what's wild is you're turning Ashes of Creation into Palia. It becomes like a life skilling game at this point. Like what? I really don't understand what you're even desire. Even if it was a mega server where everybody was on the same server, I still don't understand what the point of having that many players. And then of course, like as soon as I hear 12,000 players and start thinking about organizing, I start dry heaving a little bit, upchucking a little bit. I'm like, I wouldn't even want to consider trying to organize that number of players. That's just absolute insanity. So let me throw at you what I call the wedding table analogy for why this won't work in Ashes of Creation specifically. This does not, because of the node system, because of the uniqueness of the node system, this wedding table analogy, while it might apply a little bit to like Eve, for example, where they have these mega guilds, or maybe New World or ESO. So you're a married man, right? I remember you told me you're a married man, so you got married. So whenever you guys were designing the seating chart, did you put like the black sheep of the family and the uncle that you didn't like or whatever at the table that was closest to you guys, closest to the front of the stage?
Nah.
Or were they as far away from you as they possibly could be? So you know how right around the table, right around your table, it was like, your best friend and your dad and your parents and your grandparents that you loved and that one really cool aunt and whatever. And then the further away you got from that table, like the less the strength of the bonds between you and that person were, right? Well, Ashes of Creation, the node system, there are important things about your node, like what type of node you live in, what level that node is, and your relationship with that node and your guild's relationship with that node all confer upon to you benefits. And the higher level that node is, the more and more and more and more better those benefits are. So, it's like, they're going to have to cut this is a conversation that I guarantee is going to happen, because you have to have citizenship on a node. You have to own property on the node in order to be a citizen of the node, and you have to be a citizen of the node to get the benefits of the node, right? There's limited property. There's not unlimited property. There's not unlimited housing. It does not work that way. So I guarantee you somebody's going to go to a member of their guild and say, hey, look, we appreciate everything that you've done for us. You've been awesome. But we just poached Johnny from Ethereum, and he's like an elite level healer. And the only way he agreed to come here is if he could be a citizen of this tier 6 node that we occupy. So we're going to need you to move down to the tier 5 node. It's close to the same. It's not the same, but it's close. We're going to need you to move down. It's like telling your favorite aunt, we're going to need you to move one table further away in the wedding. So, and then of course they're going to have to go somebody at the tier 5 node and tell that person, well, you've been great, but we're having to bump somebody down from the 6 to the 5s. Now we're going to have to bump you from the 5 to the 4. And, it goes down the way. And so I don't think you could actually keep a massive alliance together, because everybody, you're going to feel slighted. You're going to be like, why am I not part of, like, I've been here from the beginning. I showed up for every war. I contributed materials. I kiss Pirate Software's ass every time he logs on. Like, why did I get bumped down to the tier 5 node? Or if you went with your idea of being on multiple servers, why am I on the server that he doesn't play on the most? Because there's gonna be an A server for sure if he broke his guys in a 2. So that's my thing. I think that the node system and the way the node system is designed, and specifically the limited housing, the fact that there's not unlimited housing, which means you're not having unlimited citizenship on a node, makes having mega guilds, like massive. The 1200 might work, but you start getting more than 1200, and I think you start really getting into these problems. I'm just wondering what you think about that idea.
Yeah, I think someone somewhere move all the doors to the hills. Someone somewhere down the line is gonna feel upset. They're going to feel not valued. They're going to feel like they're just feeding the guild leader with a little bit of payback on their end, or little acknowledgement. And this is something we talked about, like with just 500 person guilds or 200, 300 person guilds. Like as soon as Steven, I think during the AMA brought up guild benefits and like Maybe there's going to be stat bonuses associated with them. Guild leader gets a 5% crit chance. Officers right under the guild master gets 5% critical damage, X amount of resistances, and then maybe the next tier has gathering speed. Then everybody else after that is just a normal run-of-the-mill guy. They have their duties, like, hey, just make sure you farm this much ore for the guild this week. They're just like, peons, for lack of a better word. Now, the amount of peons as you go further and further with more and more numbers means more and more peons that start to feel underappreciated.
Yes.
And, there's just going to be some sort of conflict, some sort of drama. One could argue that if you're united under one cause or one fandom, like a content creator guild, it's a little bit easier. Like, hey, I'm just here to make sure Zillion, gets his freehold and make sure so Zillion can do his freehold content and make sure that his characters have enough gold and resources. So maybe you're not as selfish, but when you're leading an actual guild, like organized, like everybody wants to work for, everyone has like a job, like how he described in that video, like they have I don't know how he worded it, but an inter-guild economy.
Yeah.
So stuff like that, when you split between multiple guilds, and I will like to say, I don't think his desire to increase the guild size cap is a bad thing. I do think obviously pushing for something like 12,000 or whatever is ridiculous, but if he was pitching 500 instead of 300, I'm like, I think most people would be like, hey, that saves us, the big guilds, that saves us from having to do Pirates A and Pirates B. We could just be one guild. Some people might even want 1,000. I'm actually curious. That might be a good poll. What is the ideal guild size that you would like to see in Ashes of Creation?
50.
Is 300 perfect? 50. Wow, 50. Say
I don't like Zerg gameplay at all.
Yeah,
it's not. There's nothing fun about it at all, and organizing 300 and 500, you just have so few people who are capable of even doing that. That's a microscopic slice of the MMO fandom who are actually capable of organizing and running 300 to 500 people. But 50, lots of people could do 50. So what if you had a whole bunch of 50-person guilds running around? Like, for example, have you ever played V-Rising?
V-Rising, no. I watched some of it, but yeah.
V-Rising is at its most fun in the small guild servers. There's servers where you can only have 4 people in your guild or 3 people in your guild. So there's nobody dominating with numbers. You have to win with skill. You cannot win with numbers. So I would love to I want them to break it all the way down to 50, but I understand that's never going to happen, but that's what I would like to see. The 300's fine.
Yeah, I think the 300's fine. I think it's because this game, as much as we may not prefer it, as much as we may not want to admit it, it's going to be a Zergy game. I'm hoping it's not Throne and Liberty levels of where you just see a bunch of ants running around open field surrounding this world boss and everyone's stacked up on each other 70 plus deep in a group.
Yeah.
But I think it will be a guild driven, Zerg encouraged game. I really do foresee that. And if you make the guild sizes too small, that's just going to piss off these people that's been recruiting since like 2016.
Yeah, no, you can't do it now. You can't do it now. You already.
People love this large scale warfare because the thing is, you ever plan a vacation with a group of friends or something like that, even if you plan it like 6 months, 8 months, a year and ahead, not everybody who originally signed up makes it. Something comes up, someone backs out. You're probably gonna, I can't put a number on it, but let's say like typically only 80% of the people actually end up going on the trip, going on that road trip, that vacation. And essentially, I think that's how guilds tend to operate. They want to just recruit in mass numbers. So yeah, we got 500 people in our guild, but realistically for this node siege, only 112 are going to show up on that Discord call when we really need them. And so I think that's how they try to organize. Whereas in your V-Rising example, you knew all 3 of those guys, obviously, right? You know those people there. Even if it was like a 20-person guild limit. In a 20-person guild, you kind of know the backstory on everybody, how they got there, who invited them, what is their role, what is their professions. So it tends to mean more when it's a small guild, and some players are going to look for that small guild. Some people don't want a guild of more than 50 people to where they just feel like another number serving the guild leader, doing chores.
You know, hold on. I look at it from the opposite direction. And I think it's interesting that almost everybody that I meet says, I don't want to be just a cog in a guild. And that they always look at it from that direction. But I'm a guild leader. And I look at it from the opposite. I don't want there to be a single person in my guild that I don't know, like, what their real name is, you know, roughly where they are in the country. Do they have kids? What do they do outside of the game? Like, if it's just me and that one person in chat for 1 hour or whatever, can that me and that person have a conversation? Or is it like silent awkwardness because I don't know who the hell they are? They don't want to talk to me because they're like, oh my God, it's Zillan, the guild leader, and he never talks to you. I don't want that. So I actually look at that exact thing just from the other side. I want to know my guild members and the people that are in my guild.
Same here, man. Like, who vetted you? Something else he talked about in that video is espionage. Like, EVE Online had, like, from my understanding, like big IRL, even like espionage, like dedicated people who were just hiding out for a year. We saw the most recent, I'd say, MMO espionage, which espionage may be too strong of a term, but you know, the hardcore WoW guy, I forgot his name, but the guy who like got his I guess he got his revenge and intentionally caused this hardcore WoW raid to wipe, like stuff like that. And Ashes of Creation, like that takes some dedication, and like I want to see that kind of stuff. And if you are a guild of 500 people and not vetting everybody, or you just letting anybody that fill out some basic application join your guild, you gotta try to figure out, like, okay, who's there for you? Are you just really putting your battle plans into this secret chat? What was the qualifications to get into secret chat? Fill out a form, show up to 2 Discord meetings, and now you're wondering how I know where your caravans are, you know?
Yes.
It's just like, you can get that 12,000 person guild, or you can get that 5,000 person guild, but it's like, who are they? Like, who are they? One somebody else.
Viral Gaming just gifted a sub, so I just wanted to say thank you to him. Thank you, Viral Gaming. Appreciate it, buddy.
Viral, shout out Viral.
Yeah, and a couple of people have followed. So if you followed in the last few minutes while we've been talking, I appreciate the follow. But anyways, go ahead. Yeah, you're exactly right. The espionage part is gonna be crazy.
Yeah, he said that was one of his. He's like a big EVE player, so he said that was one of his concerns, and so. Actually, you know, I think about it now, but I wonder what Steven's response to that is. Yeah. I wonder if Steven's response to that is, I mean, here's what I hope it is, and what I'm expecting is like, oh well, that's what we want. We want the drama, we want the conflict. That's up to you to vet that person into your guild. I don't see why there needs to be a game system to prevent stuff like that. And this is just me out of ignorance. I don't play EVE. I don't know how intricate spying in an MMO can get, but in my opinion, that seems to fall on you as a guild leader to make sure you're not trusting just everybody with certain information. So,
I disagree entirely with the concept at all that Intrepid should do anything to prevent spying. Like that's, I'm not the spy type. Okay, that's not in my personality. And while we're talking about personality, just FYI, everybody here, next Sunday night at 7 o'clock Central Time. No, wrong. Next Monday night at 8 o'clock Central Time. So the same time as this show right here next Monday, I'm going to have Phantom X on, who is a real-life psychiatrist, and we are going to be having a conversation about personality type and class choice and the correlation between the two. So y'all definitely be here for that.
That's a really good one.
It is. I am not the type that, like, would be a spy. Like, that's not in my personality at all.
Yeah.
But even then, I want the spine. I want that to happen. That's going to be part of the intrigue. Somebody said something about that the meta game was the game in EVE. That was Ferocious Poo, and he's right. He's absolutely right. That was, and I played EVE. I messed around with it. The combat is like if you ever need it's late and you really need to sleep and you just can't sleep. Turn on EVE and go do the combat, and you'll be asleep in like 5 minutes or less.
Damn.
No problem. But other than that, EVE's cool. But yeah, the people, like you said, people were doing in real life spying, and people were deep undercover for years, multiple years, until they worked themselves into the position where they were actually able to do the thing that, like, almost like the Trojan horse, like lower the defenses and then let people come in. And wars have happened where hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of of ships were destroyed and stuff like that. I will say that Ashes does have one thing that will, and this one particular thing actually is going to limit a lot of various negative things that have happened in MMOs over the years, negative like systems and way people abuse them. But that's how long it's going to take to level. You're not going to just make a character to be a spy. And if you do, you're basically abandoning your other character because the game has almost essentially endless horizontal progression. And so if you're not playing your main character, the one that you're on, you're losing out on that horizontal progression that can happen, where a lot of games it kind of just you get the vertical progression, you stop. Once you got the best gear, you can just go play another character. It doesn't matter. But in Ashes, you're going to need to continue playing your one character, at least not every second, but a lot. So it's going to be hard to dedicate to a second or a third character to be a spy.
What if the perspective there is wrong and that they're okay with they're a dedicated spy, like they're okay with their main guy being a spy, like that's their role play. They want to be deep undercover for a year. You're paying them gold, so they're stashing its gold away. They're just role playing as some, they work their way up to be an officer in the guild. You're paying them for information on when these caravan runs are going to be, and they're taking that gold, they're putting it to the side, and once they're finally caught, well, they've made bank, and then they just return to your guild. Like, I think some people, it's not going to be like, oh, let me log on my main who was actually accepted into this guild. I think it's going to be like, I'm going to hardcore commit to that. I'm going to pretend to be with this guild, and and if I got a group of friends, maybe once this guild is offline or when no one's looking, I play with this other group or I play with this other guild, and they just never find out. I think some people, we're going to get the stories that we haven't gotten in MMOs. Like, I play the Elder Scrolls Online. I can't tell you, most games, like we were just talking about the Eve with the espionage and so many ships lost. I can't tell you one cool Elder Scrolls Online story. Not one. The game doesn't it doesn't warrant that. It doesn't encourage those kind of things. Yeah. Like I could tell you some personal stories, or oh my gosh, it was just me and I killed all 10 of these guys. You should see it. Check out my channel. No, there's no cool stories like with guilds and stuff like that, right? And the thing with Ashes of Creation is it's been a while since the game was designed, and I always like to bring up how hardcore WoW because high stakes, fun stories happen, right? But other than that, it's been a while since a game, from my research, because I haven't played every MMO, but from my research, it's been a while since a game has bred, or has potential, I should say, to breed stories of conflict, betrayal, and like losing something meaningful. And that's without even having a hardcore environment. This is just like, oh man, this costed me my node. This costed me this. Like, what if we start getting like mayors, like legitimate spies, legitimate spies, or just out there to their term is limited to a month. It's gonna happen, even though they're limited to a 1 month term. And you got the mandate system to kind of act as a checks and balances, right? But they're going to be able to do just enough dirt, maybe holding you stagnant for 1 month. They get rid of the military building, which makes your NPC guard stronger during node sieges. Yeah, just something, and then you get sieged that month, and it's just like, man, like it's going to be big, and especially when it's not a democratic style of voting that mayor in, like the academic way, which I think is going to be the one node type we get in Alpha 2 initially. If it's one of those where economic node, let's just say, hey, whoever has the biggest purse, you become mayor, let's say, or military node, you won the battle royale or whatever they decide to come up with. Oh, by the way, Steven, the way you should choose a military node leader is like a battle royale, APOC style, make it happen. But anyways, a mayor is going to be able to be a troll mayor, if you will. Like, it could actually happen, and I think that's gonna be funny. I think it's just gonna be hilarious, actually.
So let me tell you a little story, because you're right about the fact that these stories that get told in MMOs, it's Eve, because about every 2 years there's a big story about some massive battle in Eve, and like the story of the character that like kind of set it all off and made it happen or whatever. But before that, how far back do you have to go? Because the story that I have is from Dark Age of Camelot, and that's 2001 is when that game came out. This was probably like 2003 or so. Have you ever played Dark Age of Camelot?
No.
Okay, so there's 3 factions in Dark Age of Camelot. There's Albion, which is basically like your England. So knights, humans, etc. Britons and Saracens are part of the races you can use. There's Hibernia, which is like Celtic lore. And then there's Midgard, which is Norse lore. And so that's your 3 factions, right? And Albion was kind of like the kiddie group, like white knighty, because it's they were literally knights. It's England, you know what I mean? So they kind of always got their ass kicked by Hibernia and Midgard. It's ESO's system with the 3 factions all fighting. It comes from Dark Age of Camelot. That's what it's from. So this all that stuff is from Dark Age of Camelot. So they were always getting their ass kicked, and all of a sudden this girl, her name was Daria, showed up, and she had a partner, somebody who was with them all the time, and I want to say her name was Blackheart. And they showed up in Albion, and they just started organizing, and they were organizing runs to go, like you actually had to do runs to take like high level wood out to castles to reinforce the doors to make them high level doors so that they're harder to get into. She was organizing runs and taking castles, and for like a 8 or 10 month period, Daria like made Albion kick ass in Dark Age of Camelot for the server that I was on, right? And it was one of the biggest servers. And man, she was like a legend. If she ever said, "Hey, I need people to come out here to the Realm versus Realm area and help," people would be like, "Okay, yes, ma'am. We'll go do it, whatever." And then one day she just announced, "Hey, look, guys, me and my husband have been talking. This, we've kind of, this game's run its course. We're done. We're going. This is gonna be our last day or whatever." They organized this huge going away party for her. There was like 6,000 people at this one keep.
What?
Like they made a website for it. Like it was a big deal that this lady was retiring from the game or whatever. And I mean, she was like this legend, and everybody talked to and whispered, hushed, "Well, oh, Daria, she was amazing," or that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And like 3 weeks later, a person named Dario and a person named Blarkheart or something like that, I can't remember, showed up in Midgard in the lower level battlegrounds, and then went their way up, and that bitch did not retire from the game. She just said fuck it and switched. She switched, and she became the most hated person. People hated her. And we're talking years and years and years ago. So yeah, that's a crazy story. And when I think about that story, like, I'll tell you this, I have thought about that story more in the last 4 years since I started really covering Ashes of Creation than I did in the 15 before it, but 15 years before that, because I'm always thinking about what this is going to be like. And I think you're exactly right. The espionage, the stories. I think that there's going to be YouTube channels that exist only to cover the drama on a specific server. Yep. Every server is going to have a YouTube channel that all they do is cover the drama. You can almost do it straight up news style.
Yep. I'm aware of 3 already, I think.
Yeah, I know. You got Cat Stevens and yeah. So yeah, this is insane what they're going to be doing. So I'm excited to see what kind of stories pop up. So one question I wanted to ask you, I don't think I've ever asked you this or talked to you about this, since we're on the topic of mega guilds and all that. What are your guild plans for Alpha 2 and launch? Do you have any?
I may be making an announcement soon. I was going to wait until Alpha 2 kind of laid things out. So when I first came on Ashes of Creation scene, I was like, oh, I need to join a guild. I need to up and join a guild. Then I sat back and I thought about let me take my time. There's no rush. Game's far away. And so what's been fun is we've been doing a guild interview series on the Voices of Vera. Not every week back to back, but we've talked to pretty much every major Ashes of Creation guild outside of maybe 2 of them, I would say, as far as what most people would consider the main guild, main guild tags you see around. And so we've talked to each guild leader, and it's been cool seeing different insights, different approaches, different plans, different guild leaders, different styles, and different following levels, like how many members they have, from people that have 20 to people that are like, I don't know, 400 or 500 deep.
Right.
So it's been really enlightening, and recently I was looking at like, you know what? What if this guild interview series was a interview like for me? Like, you know, what if I'm just like, all right, which one of you guys do I want to join? So I looked at it from that approach, and then eventually I was talking with No One, the guy that I do the voice of Vera with weekly.
The superior voice.
And
Yes, go ahead.
yes, of course. And I don't know. I don't want to say nothing right now until we get something official, but maybe looking to start our own, because a lot of people often ask us like, hey, when are you going to have a guild, blah blah blah. So that's something we're considering, something looking into. Stay tuned. Nothing set in stone yet, but it is something. I'm basically, long story short, I'm weighing my options, whether it's going to be starting one, joining one, because we have a lot. I mean, we have a lot of awesome guilds in the Ashes of Creation community. I was like, you know what? I like them. I like, and it typically comes down to the guild leader for me. And there's been so many that I'm like, oh, he's cool or she's cool. Like, it's like, yeah, I think I could fit in good there. So yeah, still, and like, I wouldn't say like in the next week gonna weigh like, okay, what about this guild, or starting our own guild, and kind of just weigh those. And yeah, so no set plans, but I think soon I'll have something set.
Okay.
Something decided.
What whether you decide to create one or join one or whatever, what do you know about roughly what size of guild that you're interested in?
I want, I think similar to what you want. I don't know if this number is going to hold true, because especially being a content creator, maybe there's more people I realize like, oh, I actually, you know, you've been here for a while. I like you. You're a good person. I want you to join a guild. But I want something small. I would say 50 to 100. 50. I want to know everyone there. I want to know the backstory. I want to know like, oh, you're so and so from Twitch, or oh, you're so and so from ESO, so and so from New World, you know, blah blah blah. I would like a small guild to where you see that guild tag. You don't see them often. They're not dominating the node siege. They're not this, but when you see them, like that tag holds some sort of prestige. Like, you know, they went through some sort of nice gaming PvP boot camp. Like, you know, like I think of that movie because I love outnumbered PvP. Like, well, you know, like I love outnumbered
That's your
PvP.
thing, yeah.
Yeah, like
you could change your channel name to Outnumbered PvP.
Yes, might as well at this point. And so I want, and I'm not saying that's like a prerequisite or requirement, but I want someone to see that guild tag and you're 6 deep and there's only 2 to 3 of us, and you're like, that's that guild, like, you know. So I think like the movie 300, but with a happier ending, hopefully, you know, something like that. I think that would be pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. The Tankologist jumped in and said hello, and then he asked West Coast or East Coast. So what's going on, Tankologist? He's the guy that's doing that the walk to Vera. So he's on his treadmill streaming Ashes of Creation stuff all the time.
Yeah, I saw that the other day. Yeah.
Man, I that's too much walking for me. But I am Central, and I believe you are Central as well. As far as what servers we're going to be on, if there are Central servers, I'll probably be on Central servers. If there's not, I'll go West Coast because I stay up a little bit later, and they stay popping a little longer. You'll probably go East Coast because you go to bed at 8:15 like an old man. So
until Ashes come out.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I probably will do. East Coast for sure. Yeah.
And I'll do West Coast if there's not a Central. And I've heard East Coast would be more competitive.
I think it's the more popular one.
Right, and I'm not like looking for something hyper competitive. I'm too old for all that. My reaction speeds are not what they used to be. It's funny. I'm playing video games now, and every once in a while I'll be like, 5 years ago I would have done that without no problem. But now I'm like, I'm just a little bit off, just the tiniest little bit, you know.
I wonder when that's gonna hit me. When like I know like, oh, my reflexes are just not as good as they were, or I'm like, are they cheating? Like, what's going on here? Like when you realize that the kids are just better than you, it's just like, oh man.
Yeah, I was about 40 or 41 when I was like, when this is when I could feel it. it probably happened a few years before that, but when I was like, oh, I can actually feel this. I can tell that my reaction speeds and my ability to move the mouse and get it exactly where I want it, every single time, is not there anymore. So, I'm like, it's funny. I think about Ashes of Creation and their the dual control mode where you can do it in tab target or you can do it in action camera or whatever. Yeah. And like Optimistic Zillin is like, oh, I'm putting that thing in action mode, so you don't got to tab and hit the wrong tab. You can fling your mouse around and target who you want to target and blah, blah. And but then I really start thinking about it, and I'm like, I might need to put that shit in tab. That way I can actually have a target because I might be firing at just random nonsense. So yeah, it'll happen to you.
Oh man. I'm gonna go action. I can't stand holding down right click, man. Oh, it's just something about it. Holding down right click, it just does something to me.
Yep, that's one of the reasons why I want to go action is because of that. But then we'll see. Maybe it'll be fine. Because it is kind of sticky. Like it's not like you have to be dead on the thing, kind of like ESO is. And I did fine in ESO, so it maybe be all right. But I just definitely know that when I think about it, I'm like, you might have to go tab and just hold down the damn right mouse button if you want to get.
Go ahead and get you some tab target camera standard, and then get you some range DPS. Keep it simple.
Yes, exactly. T-Fletch says, "Man, I'm 29 and I'm done with shooters. These kids dedicate their lives to being good." Wizzy said she realized her reaction speed fell off around 41, which that's about where it was for me too. Maz Money said, isn't a Zillin stream if he doesn't bring up his slow reaction time? It's true. We bring this up all the time on my stream. Mabari said, I'm wondering if, because of the action type targeting, will encourage tiny characters.
It's still a tab target game. Kind of like what Viral just said. Like he said, you can still tab all normal. Like it's still, if you can see the person, I am curious how the Dwarf Hitbox will like favor line of sight. Like, is the Dwarf Hitbox really gonna let them? I know they've kind of touched on this before, but I would like to see it. Like, how big of a difference it makes.
Who was it?
Dwarf meta? Yes.
Somebody was in my Discord the other day talking about wanting to be an orc rogue, and I'm like, so you want to be a gigantic green monster with fangs coming out, like trying to hide around a tree? That's never gonna work for you, bro.
Gotta go dwarf rogue. It's like mandatory.
Yeah. If you're gonna go rogue, you pretty much got to go dwarf, or maybe was it Valoon? Valoon's the smaller of the human, right?
Valoon looks cool.
And then shrink it down as far as you can. That's pretty funny. Well, we'll see if that ends up being what happens. So you said you would rather be in a small guild, and then I think I know the answer to this, but from a competitive standpoint, like, are you trying to be all the sweaty, or like how competitive do you want your guild to be?
So if I was to do a guild, I'd want it to be not sweaty, skillful, sure, but not sweaty. My thing is, like, I've seen it, and I without saying too much, I've seen it. I've seen like, oh, you missed this guild meeting, don't let it happen again, and make sure you study this spreadsheet, study these formations. You have to be at this meeting at 6 o'clock, and this, and I'm like, I got a whole family.
Right. I got a whole full-time job. Dog.
And then I got the content creation.
Yeah.
And then I mentioned the full-time job. Like, there's a dog behind me, 2 cats. Like, I'm not trying to, and I wouldn't expect no one else to, like, all right, you got to meet this deadline. So it's going to be like, hey, we're going to do this at X amount of time. Hope you guys can show up. Hope to see you there. Or, hey, try to make it to this. There's not going to be like a penalizing per se. It's not going to go that hard. Obviously, I think you're going to need the numbers if you want to compete. But I think it depends on what your goals are, what your ideologies are. Quality over quantity kind of approach. Mm-hmm. Most MMOs, and I don't know, we got to play the game, but Ashes of Creation may be rewarding the quantity thing. And I mean, that's just multiplayer in general. Typically, more people, better. I mean, you're going to win that battle. You're going to get stuff done more efficiently. Like tying back to the Pirate Software video from earlier, he's going to have people who's literally dedicated to this. You are literally the ore gatherer. Like each profession broken up, and you're going to do this, and you can sell it in within the guild and stuff like that. So will you be able to compete with those guilds? No, and you should not expect to. That'll be better on your mental though. You'll have a better time.
Yeah,
you'll know the person standing next to you. You have a relationship. That Discord call with that 30 to 50 man guild is going to be timeless, classic. Just hanging out in voice chat, just relax, versus the shot caller of that 500 man guild. Just like, oh, where were you? I need you up here, on me. Like just going like, for 3 mandatory guild meetings a week. Like you could tell who don't have a job or who. Right. That's not the vibe. That's for me personally. But this is gonna be one of those MMOs to where, depending on what your goals are and depending on how successful you want to be and how quick you want to reach said success, you might want to consider a large guild. You might want to make sure you're looking into what your guild plans are already. So yeah,
it's interesting that you talked about the guild where somebody said you missed a meeting and you're in trouble with that or whatever. I coach youth sports, and I have for a long time. And one of the guys that I first coached with, who first got me into the thing, one of the things he told me, and it's amazing how true I've found this to be across time. He told me, you only get what you demand, and you only encourage what you tolerate. So if you tolerate people not showing up to meetings, you're basically saying, hey, don't show up to meetings. It's a flat out encouragement. And the only thing that you're going to get is what you demand. And having been a person who found myself in a position of leadership a lot in my life, people have looked to me to be a leader, as I've said before, for reasons that I'll never understand, but it's happened so many times in my life. I've kind of accepted it at this point. I tried early on to kind of adopt that mentality of like, if I want something to happen, I'm going to have to demand it. If I'm going to get it, I'm going to have to demand it. So an example is like, you show up to raid, you're there 5 minutes early, you're standing in front of the door to the raid, you have all of the food buffs and stems and whatever it's called in your game. You have that, you have it ready, you've watched the fight ahead of time, you know what we're doing, like, and if you don't, get out, that sort of thing. And I tried to have that mentality. And then I ran into this. He might be the smartest man alive, in my opinion. His name's Thomas Sowell. I don't know if you know who Thomas Sowell is. He's an economist, an old economist. And one of the things he says is there are no solutions. There are only trade-offs. There are no solutions. And I figured out this to be true too. There are 0 solutions to anything. There are only trade-offs. You're going to give up something to get whatever it is that you want. And so as both a guild leader and as a youth sports coach, I've figured out that it makes it more fun if I'm not the serious hard ass that's like, oh, you were talking in line while I was talking run a lap. Mm-hmm. Like they don't have as much fun. And so I trade off the having like militaristic discipline. My team does exactly what they're supposed to do every single time. We have some bad snaps and we have some people who don't know the plays. And I have some people who show up to raid that don't have their damn food buffs or whatever, but we have more fun. So that's where the way that I approach guild leadership now is I look at that you only get what you encourage or only get what you demand, and then juxtapose it with there are no solutions, there are only trade-offs. And I'm like, I lean more towards that, and I go for the trade-off of, okay, maybe we're not going to be as elite as we could be, but we're going to have fun. We're going to smile. We're going to build friendships and bonds. So that's where I am.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's just where you just do different tiers in your guild. Like, all right, you never show up for anything, you'll stay in the guild, we're not going to kick you, but you're bottom tier where there's like not much benefits until you earn that rank back. Maybe you're not invited to the next guild night, or you don't get the discount, or you don't get to use the freehold like everybody else, whatever. However you want to go about it. It's so many ways. You're not invited to the party at the freehold.
Yeah. Mabari says, I feel attacked, and he was speaking specifically when I was talking about a bunch of fucking yahoos showing up for raids without stems and stuff. That's Mabari. Mabari's one of the yahoos. But you know what? Mabari and I are friends. Like real life. He's flown to Texas and met me. Like, we are friends. And to me, that is so much more important than, you know, getting a server first on a thing or winning a Super Bowl for kids or whatever. So that's what came to my mind as soon as you said somebody was like, you didn't show up to a meeting, so you're out. I'm like, are you kidding me? People got shit to do, man. I got a real job and content creation. And so, you know, that's the way that goes. That's interesting. So I want to get your take on the word that Intrepid did not say. First off, I want to ask you, did you notice a word that Intrepid absolutely should have said during the last live stream that they didn't say? One word. They were very careful to not say this one word.
I need more context.
I mean, somebody in chat already got it. An anonymous gifter
Delay.
Delay. They delayed Alpha 2, but they did not say the word delay. They were very careful about not doing that.
That is true. I haven't think about that till you just pointed that out, actually.
I appreciate the anonymous gifter, whoever that is, gifting some subs to my channel. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. So yeah, they didn't say delay. So number one, do you think they should have said the word delay? And number two, what was your thoughts when you found out that it was not going to be in Q3 like they've been saying for 6 months?
You know what? I keep forgetting to do this, but I want to go and watch everyone's live reaction to the news. Like I really do. I want to see what everyone's. But I'm not gonna lie. I was a little disappointed. How you doing, Akira? Welcome on in.
Yeah, Akira, thank you. That's a first time chat from Akira, so thank you for jumping in the conversation.
I was a little disappointed, and let me elaborate on that because It's not doom and gloom. It's literally a month. I wasn't disappointed about it being October, and I think this is what most of the understanding followers of Ashes of Creation feel. I wasn't caring about like, oh no, I gotta wait till October now, boo-hoo. But I was so sure, and just me on a personal level, I was so sure that they were going to hit this Q3 because it's been announced as Q3 for a very long time. But it's development, and I understand things come up. But like, I spent so many comments I responded to, like, oh, you'll find out this Wednesday. You'll find out this Wednesday. You'll find out this Wednesday. I had so many people in my my main Discord who, you know, my main Discord that's not Ashes of Creation focused. Like, hey, everybody tune in. We finally get to know when Alpha 2 is. Also, they're going to be announcing how much because a lot of people didn't get the $250 Alpha 2 key pack. I was like, they're going to be announcing how much it costs, blah, blah, blah. And so when that happened, I was just like, I did a community post and everything like that. I'm just like, oh, I actually didn't see that coming. Like, I legitimately did not see that coming because just last month we were told otherwise. So that was the only disappointing part. Am I really like bent up about, oh no, it's October? It's not that big of a deal, especially because they softened the blow with that AMA, which I think is going to be. I expect Steven to knock it out the park. I think he knows, like, some people may have been disappointed, so I think he's going to knock it out the park. I have faith in that. So we'll hopefully get a great AMA and a good roadmap and everything like that. And the cool thing is, 2 weeks after that, we're going to more than likely have another live stream. So
right,
yeah.
Right.
So they didn't just say no; they gave us a no, or well, excuse me, they didn't just delay; they gave us delay and an AMA.
And an AMA.
But yeah, as far as your first part of your question, as far as why they didn't say delay, maybe they know it's a trigger word.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a mind game, like a mental gymnastics. Like, we didn't hit our mark. That sounds better than saying delay. It's like, are you going to show up to work and say, sorry, boss, I was late today, or like, or are you gonna say, oh, something came up. Yeah, run a little behind. I may not be there on time. Like yeah. I'm late. I'm irresponsible. I did an adult right today. It's the way you don't use certain words, and it's fine.
That's funny. That's a funny way to put it, man. So it's interesting that you brought up that they reiterated last month that it was going to be in Q3. And in my opinion, they didn't. In my opinion, they reiterated over and over and over again every month leading up to it yes, we're going to do it. We're confident. We're going to hit quarter 3. It's coming. It's going to be here. Quarter 3. Watch out. Ashes of Creation coming to you. And then last month, she went, probably going to hit quarter 3. I mean, she didn't say that, but like there was like this little.
I remember what you're talking about. It was Margaret.
It was Margaret.
She said something.
The tiniest little.
Everybody else
doubt in
was
her
confident
voice.
when they said it, but yeah, you're right.
She was like,
yeah.
And so, but I've been saying, partly as a joke, but partly because it's, truthful. My prediction was September 78th, because that's still technically quarter 3. That's been the joke that I've been making for when the launch was going to be, September 78th. And so now I'm starting, I'm looking like I'm pretty much nailed it, right? So I wasn't really surprised. It didn't really bother me too much. I think it was Muscles in chat said, my thought was, what's another month? It's been 8 years. I'm like, right. That's more.
Right.
That's where I am.
This isn't going to be the straw to break the camel's back. Like, now, like, what if they would have, man, I mean, I know we're just talking hypotheticals right now, but could you imagine if they said, probably quarter 1, 2025?
Yeah.
Like, if they just skipped October, skipped Q4, it's like,
bro, if they'd have went
quarter
2025.
Oh, man.
People would have showed up in San Diego with pitchforks and torches. And it would have been so bad, man.
That would. I don't know if everybody's ready for that. I don't know if everybody would be ready for that.
Oh God, that would be awful. So okay, so you're excited about the AMA. Obviously, I'm excited about the AMA. It's on the 16th. My birthday's on the 17th. Mm-hmm. So we're definitely going to have like a stream on the 17th. It's like a birthday / AMA recap stream. It's going to be a great time. So definitely show up for that. I have kind of an idea in my head of how they're going to present it or what information that they're going to give. Have you given it any thought like that? Are you an obsessive nerd like me, or do you got a real life and other shit to do?
I'll be honest, I have not, because I don't want to put too much weight on dates yet. Now, a roadmap doesn't have to have dates. If their roadmap is like, all right, we plan to have this done, and it's by year, like we plan to have the Eastern continent on or completed by 2026 quarter 1, something like that, then I'm liking that. But don't give me any dates. I'd prefer a roadmap without dates. If they give us quarters, ironically with them just missing one, I'd still, okay, I won't hold it as law, but the thing is, it lets you know that they have a plan. Here's what we're intended to do. Here's what we have left to do. This is the things we want to get implemented before the beta. Here's when you're going to get Rogue and Summoner, which I'm expecting both of those archetypes not to come this year. I know they said first update, but I think first update for them is probably different than what some people might perceive it as. So I'm predicting Rogue and Summoner Q1 2025. So seeing something like that would be really cool.
Okay, so what if what they mean by roadmap is laying out what is going to be available to us at the launch of Alpha 2, and maybe just like telling us how Alpha 2 is going to go, rather than them saying we're going to add the summoner in October and then augments in December, or what, like, whatever you want to say. What if that's what, because that's what I'm expecting.
That's what I think. I think they said both. I think they said they're going to tell us what's there at the launch of Alpha 2, and they're going to provide a roadmap throughout the course of Alpha 2. So we're going to get both. I'm pretty sure that's what Steven said. What's going to be there at the launch, and what's going to be there at the launch. I remember when I had my AMA with Steven, and a lot of people wanted to know, like, just ask what's going to be there at the launch of Alpha 2 and this and that. I'm like, those questions to me aren't super important, because it sounds weird to say it this way, but we're going to get that information anyway. I'm more curious about the game's direction, the game's goal. What is your vision? Like, is this still in the game? What's launch look like? Now that we're closer to Alpha 2, I'm like, okay, I am kind of curious, but I don't need to know. Some things are okay to be left as a surprise. But if Steven wants to do the AMA and he's telling us like how many dungeons, there's some things I think will do justice or will be good for the audience to know. How many biomes, how many archetypes, how many races. I think those 3 things And I think he already answered the node types, of course. But I think those things right there is enough. We don't need to know every little detail, but as much details as they're willing to give us, I don't mind. It's not like he's dropping lore and all that. So I think you hit those main things people are most curious about when it comes to Alpha 2. And then you follow it up with a banger AMA. And maybe or maybe not, they give like a true roadmap. Like, we plan to have this done by 2025. We plan to have this done by 2024. Content creator program launches in December. Stuff like that. Alpha 2 keys will cost this much. They will include. It will cost $150 and include 3 months playtime, or $100 and 2 months playtime. So whatever they decide, I think you do all that, and then you got yourself a good AMA.
Okay, that's interesting. So yesterday I played the game with Peon where I just asked him at the launch of Alpha 2, what do you expect on this, and we just went, archetypes and nodes and biomes and all that sort of thing. And we won't do that today, but I do think that's you're kind of hitting the nail on the head of the concept of just, we need to know more or less what archetypes are going to be there, which is going to be the 6 that we've already seen. That's set in stone. I fully expect only the Riverlands biome. They've already said only the scientific node, so the only node type is going to be scientific. My guess is it's going to be 8 nodes maybe on the map, because you only got one biome, so it can't be that many nodes, right? And I expect the crafting system to be in, and I expect to be able to go to level 15, and then they'll increase all of those things as they go, and that's more or less all I expect. I do want to point out Penumbra had a great comment here. Penumbra is one of our longtime members in the community. He said they won't give months, they'll give milestones for what content they want to hit along the way, and Penumbra. That's genius. That's exactly. Yes. They're going to say, because we already know milestone 10 is Alpha 2 ready. That's what milestone 10 is. So then they're going to say milestone 11 is Summoner. Milestone 12 is whatever, religious notes. Like every milestone is going to have something that is the thing, and then we know that their milestones are between 6 and 8 weeks long. That's how long all their milestones have been up to this point. So I'm right there with you. I think that they just need to give that generic information and then let us know. Like, this may be selfish. This is selfish. I would like to know what we're looking at for Alpha 2 and how it's going to go in terms of like how much testing is there going to be, how much are the servers going to be open, are we going to be down for days at a time or weeks at a time? Because I expect
that's a good question.
Right.
Yeah. We know persistent alpha, but we know that doesn't mean the servers are just always up.
Correct.
And when people think that, like, oh yeah, I don't mind the server being offline for 12 hours for them to do maintenance, like, no, like the server might be down for a week while they implement naval content or something big. It might be down for 2 or 3 days. I don't think I would hope would it be a month of downtime? That would be something that I haven't conceived personally.
Right.
But a week hasn't been like far out my realm.
Sure.
Like, it's something I've considered as a possibility depending on like the sizable update. Like, what if we're halfway through this UE5 MMO and they're just like, yeah, so the server meshing's working okay, but we need to do something on the back end. We're going to take things offline, iron that out. That's going to take a good week, 2 weeks at the most, but we really estimate it's only going to be a week. I expect something like that to happen.
I did too.
So that's also something maybe they need to reiterate during the AMA. Margaret did give people like a little preface. She said something like people may have the wrong idea what a persistent alpha means. So she did say that like as a soft blow, but I think Steven needs to prepare people like, hey, up to a week. I don't foresee a month happen. I don't know too many things. And
no, a week's a long time.
And a week's a long, like,
technically you can be in Alpha 2 and the servers not be up. Like in Alpha 1, they took the servers down not every single night, because eventually they left them on, but for a while they took the servers down every night and reopened them every morning. Take them down at night, reopen them in the morning, so they could make adjustments and do all that stuff. So I kind of expect it to be like that. I kind of expect there to be some level of the servers coming up and down as needed. And the only thing about that for me that I would like to see is some level of a schedule where they're like, look, we're gonna if at all possible, the servers will be up between these hours on a daily basis or whatever, and we'll let you know if they're not. So again, selfish, so that we can have a streamer schedule. So I can say, hey, look, every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, I'm going to stream from 5 to 10 or whatever.
Yeah.
That's not going to be my schedule, but and so that we'll know roughly when they'll be up. So yeah, that other than that, I think it's fine. What is the lowest dollar amount that you will accept them selling Alpha 2 keys for before you get mad?
Lowest dollar amount. That I'm so over the this is such a question. So I think a lot of people were a victim of FOMO when it came to that last pack sold in January, thinking it was going to be their last chance. Though Intrepid did do their due diligence. If you watched the end of the December stream, Margaret and Steven did clarify these packs may return in some form at a later date before the Alpha 2. They literally said it. They had something in their FAQ that no one probably even looked at anyway. So they did give us a heads up that it will be returning.
Before you answer, I do want to say nothing else, just the A2 key. No, because they've already said that. So when you're coming up with your dollar amount, don't include anything else. Just an A2 key.
Something that doesn't come with no game time. It's something that doesn't come with game time. It's something that comes with no cosmetics, no extra benefits. Just a key. I would say, see, I don't know if I'd get mad, but I'll be honest. Anything lower than, and I'm not saying this is the amount I want them to or think is fair. Anything lower than $60, just throwing a rough number out.
Okay.
I'm gonna be like, I'm sorry if I see and you can call it gatekeeper, you can call it elitism, I'm happy the Alpha 2 keys are opening up. I'm glad they're gonna be a cheaper way for friends and people to access the game. I want more people in. I do think you still gotta respect previous backers though, so there's a limit. So with that being said, I would hate to see, I'll say it just like that. I'll be a whole hater. I'll be the biggest hater if I saw someone be able to come out of nowhere to the project right now. And I'm sure PI and Kickstarters or people who bought the $500 Alpha 1 key look at me like that for spending $250. So me personally, if I would have had the option back then to buy just an Alpha 2 key, I don't care about cosmetics. I don't care about the beta. If I like the beta, I'll buy it around it, whatever. If I had the option to spend $60, $40 to guarantee my Alpha 2 key, that's what I would have did. $50 for it? Let me see somebody with a $40 option to get an Alpha 2 key. I'm flying to San Diego for a refund. Shit. Hell nah. I'll be pissed. I ain't gonna lie. Now that I'm thinking about it, I actually would be mad. I said I wouldn't, but I would be mad. $40 Alpha 2 key? Nah, you can take the ugly ass I'm playing. One of my cosmetics is good. One of my cosmetics is pretty cool.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, my cosmetics are just trash, and I don't do cosmetics anyway, so I'll never use them. But I think they're real bad. For my style, they're pretty. They're just not for me. So I have a totally different take than you on this deal.
Yeah.
So we've already discussed earlier that I'm selfish, right?
Right.
I act in my own interest.
1 second.
Right? Okay, yeah. This man just gonna abandon me on stream. I'm trying to have a conversation with this man. He's just gonna run off. All right, let's see what we have. Some comments coming in. Muscle says $50 because I have to buy 5. Be $250 for what? Muscle, I need you to tell me why you got to buy 5 keys. Why you got to buy 5 keys? Viral says $60 bare minimum. Wookie says I expect $75 for a key. Coachella says we need people who are going to be good testers. It needs to be a cost. It needs to cost a decent amount. All right, you done being rude and just abandoning me in the middle of a sentence?
Yes.
God dang. So, like I said, we've already established that I act in my own self-interest. I'm selfish. I want them to email everybody who's ever even thought the words Ashes of Creation a free key. I paid $500 to get in on this. $500. I want them to give everybody a free key.
That has already purchased.
No, everybody. If you've ever even thought about playing Ashes of Creation, I want them to invent a mind-reading machine and send a key to everybody who's even had the words Ashes of Creation roll through their brain. I'm a content creator, bro. More people playing the game is more eyeballs on content. I told you, I'm selfish, homie.
See, that to me, that's the opposite of selfish. You sound like the most caring and nonsense. I think you got that backwards. That you're the opposite of selfish. I'm the selfish one, I think.
So that's my take. I'm like,
actually, no. Make the Alpha 2 keys by themselves $249. Because you're wrong, Zelen. The more people that get to play, the more people that won't have to watch you play it. Let it marinate for a second.
Okay. So you're saying make it expensive so they have to watch rather than play. Here's the thing. I'm not. I want to be a streamer, and I'm going to stream, and I have plans, and I've been building plans to be a streamer for a long time for Ashes of Creation. But I'm more looking YouTube. Guides, tutorials, walkthroughs, that sort of thing. So I'm not concerned. Like, that's what I need the more eyeballs for. I need more people going, oh, what's a node system? I don't know what the node system is. And I'm like, well, guess what? I have a video called Node System for Idiots, and you're an idiot, so watch this. So yeah, I'm a little more selfish on that. I will say that people have gone
very
back.
Curious, man. I don't know what
charge?
Price. Yeah, like how are they gonna? I'm very curious on what they come up with, because someone said it, I forgot who, but like, no matter what the number is, there's going to be a group of people that's going to feel too little or too much.
Or too much, yes.
You're not going to please everybody.
No, you're not. You're not.
I don't know what magical number is to the number where everyone's happy. I don't know if that's $100 or $150.
Right, I'm going to make everybody happy for you. You ready? I'll make everybody happy for you. So the math has been done many times over the last 4 years, whatever. It did not matter what package you bought. Alpha 1, Alpha 2, with or without the name reservation, Beta 1, Beta, doesn't matter. If you subtract the value of the game time, the embers, and the cosmetics, you're paying $75 for early access to the game. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter which package you bought. Okay?
Yeah.
So they put a premium on that, and they say, look, $100. Because these other people paid $75 for theirs along with other things. So you're going to have a little premium on it. And the people who buy their keys right now, it's going to be called like an Alpha 2.1 key or something like that. And you guys won't get in on launch of Alpha 2. You guys have to wait a month or 3 weeks or whatever. So it's like they're cheaper. They're cheaper than what these other people paid. They're more expensive for the exact item that you're actually wanting, the one that you wanted when you bought your package, but they don't get in at the same time as you. They have to wait. I think that makes as many people happy as you possibly can. And then, of course, there's always going to be people who bitch, but, you can't do anything about that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, including myself, knew that they were going to reopen Alpha 2 key sales. I don't think no one, even though, once again, want to preface this, Intrepid did say they were. I think most people assumed that those keys were going to be resold once the current group got into Alpha 2. Because somewhere along the line, I think it was said that they got the right amount of, they got enough testers to test the game and want to make sure that they can handle it. And then, of course, enter server mesh. And so that's why everything changed. And so it's somewhat understandable, right? So I think, like we just said, you won't be able to please everybody, but I like your figure. It's 75, another 25, just cause $100. I think that'll be more than fair. I think honestly, I'm not gonna bat an eye because I'm just gonna be like, that's more eyes on the game. How many comments I've had to respond with, like, hey, you missed it, stay tuned for giveaways and stuff.
Yes.
So I just want more people to become a part of the community, and I'd hate I know I'd hate to be just chilling on Twitch. Say I never heard of Ashes of Creation, and I'm just strolling through Twitch. I see new category. I see Ashes of Creation. I see a new MMO. I'm like, oh my gosh, that looks so cool. And just to use a better real world example, I don't think it's a MMO, but Once Human came out, right? And let's say I'm just scrolling on Twitch and I see some Once Human gameplay. I'm like, oh, my favorite streamer is playing this. I like that. That looks fun. Oh, can you show the combat? And they're talking to me, and I'm like, you know what? This game looks pretty cool. Is it on Steam? I'm going to buy this right now. This looks really cool. I'm going to get me and my friend the game. They'll love this. And then I was told, like, oh, you missed your chance. You should have found out it earlier, buddy. Like, that's going to suck for some people. It just is.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm just glad more people get into the game. Although, I do think there is a minimal. Like, I don't know Intrepid wouldn't do this. Like, you don't sell the Alpha 2 key for $40. I do think there's a limit, but honestly, I'm just happy that more people get an easier opportunity to get into the game. And it, like we've discussed, it doesn't come with the beta, it doesn't come with the beta 2, the game time, the embers, all that good stuff. So yeah.
Okay. So Coachella says I have to wonder the motivation. Do they feel like they need more testers, or do they need that cash? Is it really just we want to be super nice to all the other people who didn't get in? That's a good question. What is the motivation? Like, you can kind of start to sell me on they weren't sure the entire time that the dynamic server meshing was going to work. They were like, we're getting close, but like we don't know, and it may fail at the last minute or whatever. So they're like, let's cut this off because it's going to be crazy. And then once they realize, okay, no, it's working, and we got this, and we did this, and we accomplished this, now we can reopen the sales. But to me, like, if you did that, then you should just reopen them like straight up. Like, they should be $250, and that's what you paid to get in for the people who really wanted to. So it's like, because it's funny, I hadn't even thought about it from the perspective of what you just mentioned of like you're on Twitch and you see this game that there's 1.7 million people watching this game, and you're like, what the hell is this? And you go and you find out you can't even fucking buy it. You're like, what is that? But now you're gonna.
Why are you doing this to me?
So now you're going to have people that are going to be doing the opposite. They're going to see it and they're going to go buy it. If they continue to have sales open post the launch of Alpha 2, that is a good question. Is this going to last only until the launch of Alpha 2, or are they going to continue it after? Because you could grow this game really, really huge if you had it after as well.
Wow, I had not thought about that. Like, in my brain, for some reason, I just assumed that the AMA was going to happen. They're going to announce that Alpha 2 keys are available. And then up until the launch of Alpha 2, you could buy it. That's not the case, is it? It may just be back. The Alpha 2 key, by its standself, by its lonesome, will just be available for purchase.
Dude.
So, while I'm this is essential. Are we looking at literally early access with extra fluff?
Okay, so oh my God, I can't believe I just thought So one of the problems that I have talked about that Ashes of Creation is going to face, and this is just a numerical fact. These companies, they spend all this money in building an MMO, right? And then they're $100 million, $200 million in the hole, $300 million in the hole by the time you get an MMO ready, right? But you sell it, and so you have 1 million people buy a $60 video game. That's $60 million. And they put their $15 a month in, and so every month you're getting 1 million times $15 when you're getting $15 million coming in every month, and you start to recoup it. The problem is, Ashes of Creation doesn't have a box cost, so you're not going to get that huge windfall, and a huge number of players who are going to be playing this game bought these packages where they're not going to be paying their $15 a month for
that
6 to 8, 10, 12, 15 months, like depending on which package you bought. So all that money is not coming in. So if they let's say they make it $60, a standard video game cost, right? And then they launch Alpha 2 and everybody's streaming it and people are coming in, they've effectively backdoored in a box cost to this game.
Oh, especially with Viral said it, you said it, they're selling a box with the
They backdoored in a box cost. I don't know if that's what they're thinking. It just when something you said led me down that path to think of that.
they got the box cost, and then if you did like that Alpha 2, if you have been playing it, then they're gonna get that $15 per month, whereas they're not getting the $15 a month from me.
Yeah, I think I have a year of subtime purchase. So for the first year, I'm not paying anything to play this game. And I tripled my money during Alpha 1 making content from buying the Alpha 1 package. So it's like I'm already ahead. My mind just like exploded. They backdoored in a box cost. That is brilliant. That is absolutely brilliant.
Holy
Bob
crap.
G with a first time chat says the motivation is making payroll for 250 devs working overtime, 20 million per year, just paying their people, selling their keys for 100 bucks and keep it rolling. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Whistleblower says, you mean they plan on having cosmetics though? Yes. What if they sell a cosmetic that changes goblins with a Zillion skin? Nobody would buy that shit, Hobie. That you just waste your money on having somebody design that.
Cosmetic shop during Alpha 2?
Oh, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so let me just tell you, I am emphatically against cosmetic shops. Like, I understand they're a necessary evil of the MMO genre now. That's what people are going to do. You make a lot of money off of them, all that stuff. I will never buy or use a cosmetic, ever. The free embers that they give you for being a subscriber that you get, if I can buy cosmetics and give them to like subscribers and like do giveaways for my channel, I will. If I can't give them away, if they're bound to me when I get them, those embers will sit there and collect. I will never spend them. I do not I don't play that game. I don't like the fucking cosmetic game. So
I love what you said, because I'm the complete opposite. I'm a cosmetic whore.
Oh yeah.
I gotta look good to feel good. I'm playing dress up like it's Barbie's dream house. I love looking cool. I like having a custom look to my character. I'm gonna be in that cosmetic cash shop. I preferably would prefer to just look cool in game.
Yeah.
I like transmog systems. I'm that guy. And that it's not for everybody, but I think a cosmetic shop is literally the best evil, if it's an evil to you, to have in an MMO or as a means of profit. It's better than what some games offer. Like,
yeah, I mean,
dude,
don't get me wrong. I
paid,
massively prefer it to pay to win or pay for convenience.
Massive. Yeah. Like the ESO cash shop, I can't tell you. I'm ashamed to even give you an estimate, so I won't. But $25 for a race change because you realize you weren't the optimal race for your build.
Kiss my ass. I ain't doing that shit.
$20 to change alliances. Like buying a skill line. Some games, I mean, we're not gonna go full pay to win route like Throne and Liberty. You know, literally their guild traders are the cash shop essentially. That's a weird summary of it, but essentially that. It's I just think cosmetics. I'll admit this. When I first started Guild Wars 2, I was like, ugh, my character looks ugly. I went straight to the cosmetic cash shop, got me a cool costume. It helped me have fun. I ain't gonna lie. Little polymorph, little.
Have you ever seen the movie White Men Can't Jump, the original one with Wesley Snipes?
Oh, it's been a while.
You just reminded me of the scene in there where he's telling him that he's like, you have to look good first and win second, and I would rather win first and look good second.
Yes, priorities.
I love that movie,
priorities.
man.
You have a cool moment. You get a cool clip. What's the point if your character is wearing these beat up robes, these basic bish gear? Like, come on, you got to be a badass.
See, no, I prefer the visual progression. I prefer to I don't really agree with Narc on much of anything he says most of the time, but when he rails on cosmetics or visual progression, as he calls it, he's 100% right. Like, I want to roll in a town and see somebody with some badass armor that's flames coming off it and shit, and know that guy's a badass, not that guy's a computer software engineer and makes $150,000 a year and he can afford a $38 skin or whatever, you know? Like, I want to know that guy's a badass.
I totally respect that. I get the argument for visual progression. You know what? Something that I think will be a cool compromise. I don't know if any game already does this or exactly what Ashes is going to end up doing with it, but like armor tiers or cosmetic tiers. So like I can't log in on. See, that's what I thought. Like you can't just log in and just equip that. Like you at least got to have I don't know.
Maggie
like,
said it
bro,
in the stream this month. You have to have the gear that gets attached to. And so if you have like a really badass skin, it's going to get attached to something pretty higher level. So, and so the compromise that I came up with before I knew about that system was, what if they just made it for the first 3 months, you couldn't use a skin. For the first 3 months after launch, nobody can use a skin. And then after that, skins go nuts with skins. Because that's all that really matters from a visual progression standpoint, is those first
True.
3
I can
months.
see that. I wouldn't be against it.
Yeah, but now that I see what they're going to do with, I think it's even better solution. Like, so what I really hate is somebody goes, oh, well, I leveled up my ranger and I've had a good time or whatever, but I want to try out a fighter. And so they're like, okay, and they get a fighter and they go in at level 1 and they have, a wooden bucket as a helmet and, like a loincloth or whatever. And they're like, oh, no,
Yeah.
click, 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 click. And now they're just like adorned like a badass raider who just cleared a nightmare level raid. And you're like,
That's my Guild Wars 2 story. That is my Guild Wars 2 story. It really is. I ain't gonna lie. Did it feel as good? No, it did not. In the moment, of course. Like, looking back on it. Actually, there's a lot with Guild Wars 2 that I regret, honestly. It was doing that. And then this would just lead us down another rabbit hole, but level boost. The fact that my DLC purchase came with level boost, I used it on my favorite character because I got a couple of them. But I realized that after I played the game and realized I like Guild Wars 2. I'm going to buy this expansion because I went to buy an expansion for their Ranger. I've told the story before, but the Ranger on Guild Wars 2 is that pet class, and I hate it. It's got the nature, it's got the birds, you could have a bear. And they had something sold in a DLC that lets you, I don't know if it's called Beastmaster, Soul Beast. Soul Beast is what it was called. And you can fuse with your pet, so you could just be a normal Ranger, like a bow guy. And so I bought the DLC to unlock that, and then it came with, I think, 2 level boosts. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it was 2. It came with 2 level boosts, and I used it, and I immediately regretted it. I wish I had used it on like an alt or something else, but I used it on the character that I was having fun progressing through the game. And yes, Guild Wars 2 has open world scaling, whatever, but it just didn't feel the same. The progression wasn't the same, and I feel like I ruined my experience there. So, someone in my Discord the other day was like, "Oh, I'm buying the new WoW expansion. I'm buying the new WoW expansion. Oh, bro, it comes with this level boost, so it saves me time." I'm like, is that really a good thing? Do you want to rush through the game that you paid for? So I think it's good for level boost is a fun subject we can dive down, but I think it's fun for like your friends started late and you want them to catch up to you, but then it's like, aren't you robbing your friend of the experience that you had that made you want them to try the game?
Yes.
So it's yeah.
I know. To me, level boost is a very I think you're right that it's a very tricky subject, and we certainly don't have to go off on that tangent. But a good example of what you're talking about. So my community, they decided they wanted to play Valheim, and so a bunch of people playing in Valheim, and you got people who can play 8 hours a day, got people who can play 3 hours a day, got people who play 45 minutes a day, and it's like they decided they were going to split off and go, everybody to kind of make their own little village and not use each other's stuff, because if you play 45 minutes a day, the guy that's playing 8 hours a day is going to play the whole game for you. You're going to come back and have all the best gear just dropped on your lap. Like, oh yeah, by the way, I mined out some iron gear for you here. So here's an entire iron set. And you're like, well, I haven't even killed the deer yet at the beginning of the game. So yeah, definitely level boost is a. I really hope they never bring in level boost. But I also used level boost in Star Wars: The Old Republic 10 years in.
Oh boy.
10 years in. I'd leveled like 17 characters to max, and it's like, fuck it. But the hope is that leveling isn't a chore like it is in other games, and then you won't need the level boost. That's the hope to me. So to me, I hope they don't bring in the level boost because the game is so much fun that you go and level characters because it's fun instead of being a chore. So I'm gonna show a little sneak peek to those of us everyone watching here of mine and your DMs. I want them to see something. I want them to know who they're dealing with here.
Oh boy.
So I want you guys to see this. This was a message from Nice Gaming, and it says 8 to 10 hella late LOL, but I'm down. 8 to 10 is hella late. 8 to 10.
Hey, it's late on a Monday. It's late on a Monday when me and my wife have an agreement. Like, all right, you get stream Tuesdays and Thursdays. Other than that, I need your help. You're going to be upstairs.
Okay.
That's what that means. But you catch me on a normal gaming night, I'm staying up with you.
Okay. I was like,
it's actually not even late because of like, oh, I got to get up for work in the morning. Even though I try to obviously get off at a decent time, so I'm not sleepy at work. But yeah, that's what it's mostly about.
I found that funny. You're younger than me, and I'm like, I go to bed at midnight most nights, like most nights. But okay, I'm gonna give you a little bit of a pass if you got the wife and you've agreed and you have young enough kids that like she needs that help and all that stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I'm gonna give you a little bit of pass there. But the main reason I was showing that was because you had said that's kind of late, and so I told you if we could kind of cut it off a little bit early, we'd get out of here a little early. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up there, guys. This was awesome. Thank you so much for coming on the channel, man. I was a little bit nervous to ask you because I was like, he might be like, I mean. I have 12 to 14,000 subscribers, little man. I'm way better than you, but you didn't.
No.
You didn't do that. So.
Dude, I've gone on streams where no one's heard of them. There's 6 people in chat. I'm here for a good talk and then good community. So
yeah, I'm right there with you. I'm exactly the same. So what we're gonna do, guys, is we are gonna go raid AV Gaming. Looks like he is talking a little bit of Ash the Creation right now, and he hangs out in my channel a lot and stuff, so we're going to go over there and raid him. I do appreciate you guys all coming in and hanging out with us and having conversation about Ash. It's nice. Again, thank you so much. You guys go follow Nice over on YouTube and Twitch. The Voices of Era podcast is awesome, even though he's not nearly as good as Else, but that's a whole other conversation. So you guys go follow him, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
peace.
7 seconds. The Raiders are getting ready. All right. Bye, y'all.